Hello designers! In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to upload new brushes to Photoshop and to Photopea for any of those students who are working from home without access to Photoshop. So let's get started. If we go to our toolbar, I'm just going to go and select tool number 8, which is my brush tool, and if I go to the options bar, I'll be able to select different brushes that are presently available to me in Photoshop. So I'll just go to my brush picker panel and I'll see that there's different folders that contain brushes that either come by default in Photoshop, such as the general brushes, which are, these soft round brushes, hard round brushes, and so forth. The wet media brushes, for example, which create these really interesting results, like if you're working with watercolor or ink. And you'll see that I have several other brushes that you guys may not necessarily have because I've taken the time to go and upload so many brushes to this computer already. So for example, I have several mandala brushes that I'll show you how to use momentarily. These will help to create an instant, forgive the lag, this will help to create an instant mandala kind of look in my document by just using the brush. I'm just going to Control Z to go back. Now I want to go and upload several different more brushes that I can use on different projects. So I will go ahead and flip on over to brusheasy.com. Now you will notice that I'll have Photopea open as well. The same exact steps will apply to both Photoshop and to Photopea. I'll show you in a minute how to do it on Photopea. Let's start with Photoshop. But anyway, I'm going to use brusheasy.com, which is one of many different websites that offer you several free brushes that you guys can download to your computer and install to Photoshop or Photopea. So if you guys scroll down, you'll see a pretty interesting selection of brushes already, but you can always go and install something more specific to the project you're doing. For example, a few years ago I was doing a project using zodiac signs and astronomical kind of imagery. So then when I went into the search bar, I actually typed up zodiac and waited for it to give me the search results. Now, just like if you guys are going and downloading a photo from a free Photoshop site, it may give you a premium option. Now, premium options are just there for paying customers. So if you want to spend money on it, you can knock yourself out. But if I know you, like I think I do, you'll probably just want to focus on the free options. So when I was working on that project I was telling you guys about, I actually went and downloaded these zodiac brushes and shapes that were available on brusheasy.com, which look like this. Now anytime that you select a different option to download from BrushEasy, you want to make sure it actually says brushes. Now you may think this is a little bit overkill, but this website also includes free patterns, free shapes, and other content that you can go and download to your computer. So just to be safe, make sure that whatever particular item you select says brushes or brush set. Okay, now let's see. I actually want to go and look for something nature inspired. So in the search bar, I'll just type in nature and see what I get. Okay, I can see that loaded and it has a pretty wide selection of things that BrushEasy is categorizing as nature inspired. Everything from grass to waterfalls to lightning to ivy, whatever, you name it. So there's a pretty big selection for me to choose from here. For now, I'm actually going to go and select these brushes that look like ivy vines. Now that they loaded, I can see a bigger preview of the brushes. So this is what it would look like when I go and use them within Photoshop or Photopea. I just want to make sure that the preview says brushes, which I know is overkill, but I've run into the issue before where I download a pattern or something and it just doesn't work quite the same. So I just want to go and select the free download button and wait for that to download to my computer. if you're on a Windows computer, by default, your download will go to your downloads folder, and you guys will see that after the brush downloaded, I get now a zip file at the bottom of my browser. So I'm just going to go and click on that zip file to open it and find the brush that I just downloaded. I just want to remind you guys, sometimes this will lag, so be patient. Alright, so here's the zip file I just downloaded, and I can see it's contained within this folder, so I'm just going to go and open the folder. And here I have what's called an ABR file. That is the brush file that I need to upload to Photoshop and to Photopea. So what I want to do is I actually want to go and copy this brush file. I'm just right clicking to copy it and put this brush file somewhere I know I'm going to find it, like my desktop. Because if I leave it in that folder in my downloads, I won't be able to access it as easily as I would if it's in my desktop. So I'm just going to go and flip over to my desktop and right click to paste it in and wait for that to copy all the way. So here's the brush file, and now I'm ready to start working from Photoshop. So I'm done with Brush Easy for the moment. I'm going to open up Photoshop, select my brush tool, and I'm going to go and look for my brush picker menu. Now, this is where I usually select the brushes that I want to use, but the brush is not installed yet, so it's not going to be listed in one of these folders. Instead, I want to go and look for this little icon that looks like a gear. When I click on that little icon that looks like a gear, I'll be able to go and select Import Brushes. And now I'm going to look for the place where I stored that brush file. So I'm going to select my desktop and select the brush file and load, and wait just a few seconds for Photoshop to load that brush file. Okay, so if I scroll all the way down, I see I have some brushes that I had created, so they're not going to be contained in folders. But if I scroll all the way down, I can see the last item that I loaded to my brushes, and that's the 20 Ivy brushes I just downloaded from Brush Easy. So let's test them. I'm going to go and open that folder and then scroll down to select a random brush and maybe make my brush size a little smaller so I can actually see the brush completely. And that is the beautiful brush that I just uploaded to Photoshop. Let me test a new one because there's several different brushes is contained inside this same folder. I actually make it a different size so I can actually see in a different color. Beautiful. Has very decorative kind of edges. So that is just how you load brushes to Photoshop. Now, mind you, let's say you're on a school computer and you load the brushes to computer number 1 on Tuesday. Then you come back to class on Thursday and you choose to sit in computer number 5. Those brushes are not going to be in computer number 5. The brushes are saved to the computer you were sitting at on the day that you uploaded them, if that makes sense. So if you're sitting at computer number 5 on Thursday and you want to use the same brush, you will need to go and download the brush and upload it to that computer. Okay? So let me show you how to do it on Photopea. I'm going to flip over to Photopea. I have the same tool selected, tool number 8, and in my options bar I'm going to go to my brush picker panel. It's a very similar process. It's a little bit harder to find here. You guys are going to go to this little arrow that would let you scroll through the different brushes that Photopea already has installed, and unfortunately it's not a lot, but we're going to remedy that situation. Click that little arrow and you're going to select Load ABR. That's the brush file. Then you're going to go to your desktop where you saved the brush file, select the brush file. So I'm just using the same one, the Ivy brushes, and click open and wait for Photopea to process that. Okay, brush has been added, so I'm just going to go and scroll down in my brush picker panel here on Photopea and test the brush out. Alright, that looks really beautiful, but it's actually quite big, so I'm going to go and lower the size a little bit so I can see what it looks like on a smaller scale. Be patient, you guys. You know, Photopea does tend to lag, so if you're working from home, be patient. It is a free tool. Alright, that's the same exact brush and a smaller scale, and that looks really beautiful. So there's no reason not to use all those different brushes that are available to you to download, because you can easily upload them to either Photoshop and Photopea and use them on all your projects. I can't wait to see what you guys create with all these brushes, and I'll catch you later. Peace out!